What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade basketball analysis coming to y'all with another top 20 potential pick. Chris is going to come into the NBA as a guy that will be known as a scorer. This guy pretty much understands the game, knows how to get to his spots, knows how to get to the rim by being patient, using angles, using his footwork to beat guys off the dribble. He can also be a good catch and shoot guy. Can put the ball on the ground and make some shots every once in a while. Not the most craziest scorer, not the most flashiest guy either. He's just gonna beat you off wit. He's just gonna beat you off patient, and he doesn't rush. I think that's another thing that's good for him. Not the most explosive guy, not the fanciest guy, but this is a guy that gets the job done. Exactly what you need him to do. I need you to guard some guards, shooting guards or point guards, and some threes. Hit a couple threes, get out in transition, make the right pass, be aggressive going through the middle, flood out to the corners to be able to give spacing and be a threat at the 3 point line. He showed that he can knock down threes. He showed that he can create his own shot from time to time when need be. And he showed that he can, if you rotate out to him, he can put the ball on the ground, make a jumper every once in a while, potentially make a floater in the future, and make a layup. It's nothing crazy about him. It's nothing mind blowing about him. He just understands what he can do and what he can't do. He understands how to put the ball in the basket efficiently. Shot over 50% from the field because he didn't really take any crazy dumb shots. He played within the system. He knew his game. He knew his role in the team, and he played hard. I give him credit on that. And guys like this are the ones that you start taking in the 20, 25, 30 range because you already know what you're getting. You're not going to get a guy with superstar upside. You're not probably going to get a guy with all-star potential. But what you do get is a guy that you can plug into your starting lineup. You can plug into your bench and expect 15 to 25 minutes of decent production. And if you select Chris, he would definitely be able to supply that. And those guys are important. We seen the Bobby Portises and the Pat Connaughtons. They didn't do anything crazy. They didn't do anything that really was mind blowing. But they knew where to be at on the court. They knew to give spacing when they're on the court, and they knew if they had an advantage or they had a certain matchup or they was in a particular lineup, they knew they were supposed to do. They understood the game, they understood their role, and they understood what they bring to the table. And I feel like Chris does all those things well. And I do see him as a guy that you can pick and just plug him right into your team, give him a couple scrimmages, give him a couple practices, and he should be able to contribute. He might not be a 25, 30 point scorer, but you still do need those guys that can come in off the bench, accept that role, not whine, complain, be a professional, grab that basketball and let that thing fly in the basket and get some points. And I feel like he can bring all those to the table now, and I don't really see that changing in the future. So I pretty much give him the stamp of approval, and I pretty much give him a teammate that you'll love playing for because he's going to continue to move. If he doesn't have the ball, he's going to continue to find ways to attack when he gets the ball. And he's not the greatest passer, not the greatest decision maker, but he does give you what you need in most guards, and that's shooting. And he brings that to the table already. He's going to have to prove that he can do it at the NBA level just like any other rookie. And defensively, he's going to have to show a little bit more because he's going to be going against big guards that are athletic, and he's going to have to stay in front of them. He's going to have to keep them from blowing past them, going to the paint and collapsing the defense. And he's going to have to be a little bit more feisty on that end. He was known as a two-way player in college. He's going to definitely have to be a two-way player if he wants to be a starter at the NBA level. And he pretty much should try to add a little bit more to his bag if he wants to be a guy that can be a starter on a playoff team or on a championship contending team, just because he shows signs of being the guy that you wouldn't mind being your sixth, seventh, or eighth guy on a good team. but he also doesn't do enough offensively or defensively that really, shines, that makes me feel like I really need him on the court. He doesn't have enough, and he doesn't do enough to impact the game to be a legitimate starter. Like if his defense was a little bit better, if his passing and basketball IQ was a little bit higher, maybe he can be a starting shooting guard in this league. It's a lot of guys that can play the two or the three or even the one. He didn't show me enough decision making and playmaking and ball handling ability to where I can see him as a combo guard. So that I think that puts his ceiling as a role player, rotation player, and that's not a bad thing. You need guys that need to stay ready and guys that come in and do exactly what their job lists. And his job will be space the floor, put the ball in the basket when you can, and if you can do that, you can have a successful career. A lot of players been proving that throughout the last couple of drafts, and get in where you fit in. This is your game. This is how you play. Let that thing go. Let that thing fly. But if you do want to improve, he's going to have to go a little harder. He's going to have to play a little harder, and he's going to have to attack a little bit more. And that'll pretty much open up some lanes and pretty much open up some teammates. And then it's just about reading what you need to do in that particular situation. And I think a pull-up game will help him too, being able to handle the ball, and if the defense sags off of you or they stop you from driving, being able to do a little step back mid range or being able to hold the ball off a screen and just hit a little mid range jumper. I do think the floater will help him too if he can master it. Just because when I watch him play, is a lot of the times he goes all the way to the basket, but he's very slow and not really that explosive when going there. I don't know if he can do that at the NBA level, honestly, but if you can just get in front of your guy, keep him aside you or keep him behind you, which he showed that he can particularly do, just float it up, and that counts as the same amount of points as hitting a layup, hitting a jump shot. The difference is you got a little bit more space, it's a little bit more open, and you just got to drop it in. So to me, he's going to be an interesting player to see where he goes because I don't really think it's a necessity for him in the NBA. I don't really think that teams really should be dying to have him. But if you do get him or he do fall to you, you at least know that you got a guy that can contribute. And that's better than getting a guy that might be a bust. Sometimes getting a sure thing is better than getting a guy that's out the league in 2 to 3 years, especially when a guy like Chris might not warrant a lot of money, might not be high maintenance, might not be controversial, and he just comes in, works hard, plays well, enthusiastic, and also, shows that he's coachable and a guy that you can possibly even play some small ball with. And, he can be an impact player if he improves the rest of his game. But if he doesn't, he's pretty much going to be a rotation player at best. And those guys are still going to be coveted and needed, especially when you can shoot as well as he can from three. And I like the fact that he can make some difficult shots every once in a while if you give him the space or you don't give him the proper respect. I think that that's essential to the league nowadays. They want guys that can handle the ball a little bit and shoot off the dribble a little bit or shoot coming off a screen. And he showed that he had some of that in his bag. And I think that that's going to be something that can give him longevity in the league if he can consistently do it. And, that's going to be key to his success. But, he wasn't really a lights out scorer in college, but he was a guy that took the right shots, made the right plays, kept the ball moving if he didn't have it. And sometimes if the shot clock is late, he can make a tough one, or he can even turn down a bad one and get a good one. That's why I would like him to improve his vision and his playmaking a little bit, because then you can just open it up for bigs and guards and forwards to be able to make the better play, turn up a bad shot for a good shot, turn up a good shot for a great shot. And I feel like he showed a little bit of that, but I like him to be able to do it a little bit more by himself without his teammates, just because that just make him a little bit more of a weapon that can really have value as a starter in this league. But other than that, a solid player, a guy that pretty much can fit on any roster, can fit that Pacific role that a lot of teams still love in this league. This can be a guy that can be in the league for 10 years, and everybody know who he is. Everybody know he can play, and that's not a bad career, and that's not a bad role. But there's a lot of guys that does that in their career. He can be one of them. Do I see superstar, all star? No. But then again, how many superstars and all stars in the world and in the league? But then again, you'd rather be in the league than out of the league, especially when you can play. He has enough. Add a little bit more salt and pepper. He should be a seasoned veteran for multiple years that teams would love to have on their bench. Teams can love to have potentially in their starting lineups, depending on what else he adds to his game, and he can have a solid career. Other than that, Quinn Wade, basketball analysis, signing out, and let's get ready for the draft on Thursday.